Good morning. My name is Jerry Markentel. I live in Tucson, Arizona. I am the inventor of a tool that I call the tail stock steady. And that's what it looks like. And what it does is it aids me in removing the tenons off of my pieces. I've had extremely good success. I have probably done upwards of 500 pieces so far. Gotten about 400 of them to the completion stage, or I have gotten about 400 of them that have come off the lathe and sitting on tables, furniture, shelves, in a box, completed. No losses since the first of the first 10 that I made after inventing this. I lost about 2, maybe 3, and too much pressure on one. One of them, I went right through the bottom of it, so it has nothing to do with the tool. And then the other one, I don't know exactly what happened, but it just flew apart on me. So it had nothing to do with this thing right here. Now, I say I'm the inventor of it. I am. Here's my patent number. The patent number is 93939. We're going to start over here. I can't read. Patent number is 9393655. Issued to Jerry Markentel, Tucson, Arizona. So that verifies that I am the owner, or not owner, but I have a patent. It's patented. So it's not something that I just made. And oh boy, it's gonna. I'm gonna try to sell this to people. You know, no, it works. And it worked enough to make me spend, about $6,000 for a patent. What it does is aids me in removing tenons off of my pieces. Let me take the tenon off. I started off with a 2 1/4 inch tenon on this piece. I took it down. Now there is a way that I do this that's different than probably pretty much all the other people out there. I also invented this thing that I call a chuck plate. This is what it looks like in its normal state. The new ones that I made, I've replaced this center screw with a smooth screw that will not mess up a hole that I use on my friction plates. But I use this for all my rough turnings. That can be a demo for another day. But right now I'm going to demo my tail stock steady for a guy named Jack. He just bought one, and he was talking about asking how can you do something, or he was doing something and had some troubles. I have got techniques that will eliminate those problems, and you just have to kind of adhere to them or develop your own, but use basically the same principle. The chuck plate is this chuck plate I use for roughing only. This chuck plate right here that you see on the lathe is strictly for removing tenons. I have another chuck plate here that I use. Well, this one right here was made, set up and used when I only had a 12-inch lathe. Now I have a 20, so I use bigger pieces. And I don't want to use this same little chuck plate, so I use this one. And there's no difference in it other than the configuration of the screws. This ensures that whenever I put my plate in here, it always goes back in the same holes every time. The only important hole that's really critical on these friction plates is the center hole. And, oh crap, now I can't find one. Let's start right here. Here we go. This is non-confusing. Here's what I do. This is confusing because I had this extra hole. At one time, I used the center hole drilled exactly 1/4 inch. No smaller, no larger. These holes around here can be larger, 9/32 up. If you want to drill it to 1/2 inch, you can. It doesn't really matter because what it does is it drives this plate. Oops. If I put it in the right hole, it'll work. There. It's a driver. That's all it does. It makes this thing turn. So what I've done is I've taken this screw right here, removed it from that hole right there, which would be that hole right there, and put another hole up here and done this. That way I'm not sitting around here trying to figure out which hole, which way does it go, because everybody knows if you drill more than 2 holes, the third one is not going to be an exact fit. So you drill these outer holes larger, and you try to put them in the same place at all times. So remove the one screw, put it up top, that offsets everything, it goes in like it's supposed to. So I use these friction plates, and I've got a bunch of them. I've got them as small as, well, this is probably not the smallest. It's the same OD as my chuck plate. So this chuck plate's 4 1/4. So the smallest one will be 4 1/4. I go up to 19 3/4. I've never had the opportunity to turn anything that large yet, but I use the plate anyway, because you can see grooves and steps in here, or I should say steps in here. You can just put all kinds of different pieces in here, and this plate can be used a lot of times. Now what I have done is I have started doubling up on the plates, because it's much better. What that does is allows me to, well, where's my big one? I'll use this one. Here's my bigger one. That will allow me to go down and use this thing. I can probably get about 30, 40, 50 forms out of here before I have to toss it. Make another one. That's if I'm careless. If I'm cautious, I can probably get a whole lot more. But I also do aluminite castings, and I glue up a bunch of MDF, and I stack up my MDF. I'm trying to make this a presentable video. I stack up 5 pieces of MDF, and 5 times 3/4 is 4 1/4 or 4 1/2 or something. I don't know. My mind is not with me. But what it will do is let me end up, when I cut this, I make these rings. There we go. I'll take this, and I'll take my squares that are about 8 3/4, 9 inches or something like that, and I'll turn, or I'll set it up on the lathe. This is not the one, but set it up on the lathe, and then I'll turn out that thing, and this is what I use. This is a piece of scrap, but since I do my turnings the way I do, it is not scrap. I use this for my jam chucks, friction plates, rim chucks, let's see what else, friction plates, jam chucks, rim chucks, and plugs in some cases. And when I call it a plug, I'm talking about taking a piece, and say, we'll call this a plug right here. My plug is in here, or I'll shape this to fit the inside of a natural edge. This particular one right here, I had to do a natural edge piece. Everybody knows natural edges are not flat, so you can't index off of here to find your center with your dimple. So what I ended up doing was making this thing right here. I'll show how that works. Went in like so. I gotta move some pieces here. I said I'm gonna try to make a presentable video. It doesn't look that way. So I took my live center, I call that my live center because I made that live center. I made 17 of them. So took my live center, I put it in, and I measured across the top of this thing here to see what I had. Then I laid a board across here, and I measured all the way around. I stepped somewhere. I don't know if it's stepping off of this ring right here or over here somewhere. But anyway, I got my dimensions, and I made this. And then, after I got to where the OD of this would fit inside here, then I had to start working this right here. So what I ended up doing was turning that, and then once I got this made, I still had a tenon here that had to come off. So I pulled my tailstock back, put the piece in, then I brought it up, caught my dimple, tightened it, took it down to where it's the same OD as my nose of this live center. Turns out that's 5/8. I do not make any nubs anymore smaller than 5/8 because I've had too many of them give on me before I was ready to not have any pressure between centers. So after that got done, yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, the live center is still in place, and the piece has got it down to a small nub. I'll take and I'll lower my tool rest. This particular banjo, I don't know if they're all like that. Whenever I tighten it down, it moves forward. So right here, it's got this thing stable. I wouldn't want to turn this because I would probably damage down here. But hold that in place. Move this stuff right here. And then I'll get my tailstock steady. And it doesn't matter which one you use because now all you have is a little 5/8 nub right there. This is one configuration of the tailstock steady. This is called, I call this the inboard portion, or the inboard configuration. There you go, the inboard configuration, and I call this one the outboard configuration. They are the same exact pieces right here. There's no difference in any of these. There's also this configuration right here. Same thing, no difference. It's just how I have the struts and the wheels turned on this one. So they're all the same tool, and you can get that. And so far, I have used just those three that I've shown you. That's the only ones I've ever used for removing the tenon on anything, until one day, oops. Oh, I got rid of my extensions. I sold my extensions, or sent my extensions with to Jack. Jack, you got my extensions. But that brought this out another 1/2 inch on each side, so another inch. Plus, I've got 1 inch right here. I needed that to do those rings, that ring thing that you saw. So that's why that was made. It's not necessary. I have done, I think my biggest piece so far is 16 inches, 16-inch piece that I have not, I didn't have an issue with. As long as you've got your wheels out here like you're supposed to, you've got a large enough plate to hold it, it's going to stay centered. So anyway, what I do, I still have my nub on my piece. I've got that natural edge top that you saw. Take and I'll bring this up, pull this back to where it'll turn, and then go for it. Now it's it looks to me like it's a little bit on the warp side. The jam chuck, rim chuck, plug, whatever you want to call this thing, it's spinning pretty true. It looks to me like it's spinning truer than it was when I put it in the first time. So anyway, this is how I'll do my natural edges. Now, if I have a natural edge that is, it just comes out and it's a big bowl, then I'll do the same thing, except I will make one of these, or take a future turning, and we all have them. Let's just say that this is a turning right here that I need to finish one of these days, and I haven't done it yet. And I wish I had one that I could show. But I would take and fit the ID of the bowl to the OD of this. This hole, let's just say the hole's not there. Fit that, go ahead, bring up your natural